"Who's been sitting on my stool?" said the first. "And who's been eating from my plate?" said the second. "Who's been picking at my bread?" said the third. "Who's been using my spoon?" said the fourth.
"Who's been meddling with me fork?"
said the fifth. "Who's been cutting with my knife?" said the sixth. "Who's been drinking from my glass?" said the seventh. And the first one, who had been looking around the little house, added, "And who's that lying on my bed?" They gathered round in amazement, and when they lifted their lamps to take a good look and saw how peacefully Snow White was sleeping, they let her sleep on. The dwarfs were kind little fellows, and to tell the truth, they felt rather pleased to have such a pretty visitor. Next morning Snow White told them her story, and they took pity on her. They offered to let her stay. They were busy little men, out all day looking for gold, and they thought she would be useful in the house to cook and wash and keep them tidy. But they warned her, "Take care of the queen. She will learn you are not dead and will come looking for you. When we are out, let no one in." For a while the queen was happy, but one day as she questioned her mirror, the answer gave her a nasty shock. "You, O queen, are the fairest here, but over the hills in the green shade, where 7 dwarfs their house have made, there Snow White is hiding from you, and she is lovelier far than you'll ever be." The queen knew that the mirror never lied. She felt a terrible jealousy, and since her servant had tricked her, she decided to get rid of Snow White herself. In disguise, she went over the mountains to the place where the dwarfs lived. She knocked at the door, crying, "Fine things to sell, laces, cottons, buttons, silk, buy my pretty things." Now Snow White was very tempted by bright colours and pretty shapes. Surely, she thought, there can be no harm in this old woman. She opened the door. "Bless me," said the old woman, entering quickly. "How badly your dress is laced. Let me take one of my new laces and lace you up properly." So the queen, in disguise, pulled and pulled until Snow White fainted, and down she fell as if dead. "That's the end of you," cried the cruel queen, and away she went. That evening, when the little men returned, they saw Snow White lying on the floor, and they feared for her. But she was still breathing, so they cut her laces and rubbed and bathed her, and soon she was well again. "Be careful," they anxiously warned her once more. "That old woman was really the wicked queen. Never, never open the door when we are away." As soon as the queen got home, she went straight to the mirror. But the mirror answered as before, "Still Snow White is hiding from you, and she is lovelier far than ever you'll be." Now the queen was raging with envy. Again she put on a disguise and hurried over the mountains. This time she was selling combs, one of which she had poisoned. And again Snow White, tempted by pretty things, let her in. At once the wicked queen put the poisoned comb in Snow White's hair to eat into her brain, and went away glad. Luckily, the 7 dwarfs returned early that day. Seeing what was wrong, they quickly pulled the comb from her hair and rubbed her head with a special medicine.